As we know, there was an terror attack that happened in Streatham yesterday. And what we want to do is, like, we want to go into this person's mind, yeah? Because there's copycat attacks happening, yeah? And they're all carrying these fake vests.
I think even before that, we should give our condolences to
yes, of course, 100%.
Family of those affected.
Yes.
And to be honest, the community as a whole, really.
Yes, definitely, you know. And for some reason, he picked an area which there is a lot of Muslims there as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to have some casualties with Muslims. It's regardless, but I'm saying, you know, because these people, they're on such a level of fanaticism that I don't think they see Muslim moments. To them, all of us, we are all in the same camp. We are.
I mean, look, a lot of the time in my course online, Islam Plus, it's called Extremism in Islam. It's about to be released soon, inshallah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
So, Extremism in Islam is a textual approach. I go through the ideological underpinnings or theological justifications as to why many of these people do what they do. The course is divided into two parts. The first part deals with things like, for example, do all Muslims commanded to fight and kill the non-believers, the non-Muslims? That's a common thing. This is probably what he believed as well. Allah Jalla wa'ala knows best. Many of them do, especially ISIS and Al-Qaeda and the like. And I deal with other texts and things that are used by these people to promote and to justify their belief, their discourse, such as, for example, the verse of the sword or the verses of the sword. Also the hadith for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where he says, "Umirtu an uqatil nas," I've been ordered to command to fight the people until they believe that there's no way to worship except Allah, so on and so forth. And a lot of these kind of things. The second part of the course, it really concerns Muslims themselves. So it's an intra-Muslim kind of discussion, and really the whole discussion is centered around takfir and the concept of takfir or excommunication, and taking one and rendering someone outside the fold of Islam, because it's used by a lot of the extremist groups as a tool of justification to justify spilling the blood of a Muslim, let alone a Muslim. We deal with that in the previous course, the previous part of the course. And so inshallah it'll be coming out soon, hopefully next week. We're aiming for.
So that's an online platform, Salam Plus, which you can come and sign up for free.
Salamplus.org.uk
and learn, inshallah. Inshallah, if there's anyone watching this and sadly has been brainwashed by thinking that carrying out these attacks on innocent civilians is going to somehow help Islam, you're doing an absolute disservice to us. You're misrepresenting our religion. You are actually maybe a reason why our religion is being attacked. So,
absolutely,
you know, please, if you can watch this, inshallah, and maybe hopefully come to your senses and not take innocent lives. So let's just quickly react to this video from ITV News.
Two men in plain clothes pointing guns. One swaps his beanie hat for a police cap. It's now clear they're undercover officers. And lying before them on a high street in South London is the suspect.
Gone down twice.
Strapped to his body what looks like a device. It's a hoax. The police clear the streets. Go to the back of the store. Then more arrive. They're there within minutes, because the suspect they've just killed had been under their watch, and this is the end of a police surveillance operation. Several people had been stabbed by the suspect. Some were treated by passers-by who saw the horror on a Sunday afternoon.
Another person got stabbed down here as well.
Massive bright orange trauma helicopter landed on the common right in front of us, and then there were police and ambulances driving about, and we had assumed that there had been a car accident and that's what all the people were there for. And then we walked up this road just here and came to sort of about there, and there were armed police everywhere, there were people everywhere. The armed police looked like they were crouching down over someone. I don't know if that's what they were doing, and then they started shouting at us all to get back, and just pushing us further down the road.
ITV News understands the suspect was 21-year-old Sudesh Aman, who was released from prison 1 week ago. He was jailed in 2018 after admitting 13 terror offences and expressing a desire to carry out his own terror attack.
So why? Okay, this is the question that first needs to be asked before we go into his, or go into this guy's mind. So like, how are they letting out this guy when he's clearly has said that he's want to carry out this attack?
The thing is, you don't know if he said this whilst in prison, whilst doing his sentence.
Okay.
And a lot of the times, I mean, when I was in prison, I saw all sorts of offenders.
Okay, once you're in prison, people are going to think, okay, what are they talking about?
I was in prison. For those who don't know my past, go on to watch my podcast with Dili Hussein on the Blood Brothers podcast. Also, we did one at Salam as well. It's called I Used to Be Radical. So I was convicted previously back in 2000. It was about 12 years ago, 2008, for terror offence. I was initially planning to go to Afghanistan, and I discuss it in those podcasts. The reasons why my psychology at the time.
But maybe people don't want to go to that podcast. Let's just quick, just a brief like. Let's ask yourself like what led you to take that path, because you're not coming from this, because this guy wants anyone's blood.
Absolutely, yeah.
You was more of like invading forces.
Absolutely, invading forces, oppression on the Muslims. Like, I felt that the Muslims were being victimized or being attacked, and no one was there to defend them. No one was there to protect them, protect their honor, so on and so forth. And I found ideological justification to allow myself to travel and to permit myself to travel and to try and join the armed forces there and so on and so forth. That was it in a nutshell. But what happened? I mean,
you didn't make it. Obviously, you got arrested.
Of course, yeah. So I mean, when I was in Turkey, and then I came back and I got arrested, and the rest is history, right? Now with me, I saw the oppression that was taking place, and I felt that there was no one there to protect the Muslims, protect the rights of the Muslims, and I found that I became slowly alienated from society, from the mainstream Muslims. I felt that no one was talking. I felt our scholars weren't talking about it, and everyone was quiet. And I found I kind of mentioned there, but I'm a person who, when I see injustices, I can't deal with it, right?
Like a lot of people,
a lot of people like this one. I think it's a good character. How it has to be challenged in the right way. And so I secluded myself online. I found a safe space. I found people that I could communicate with online. And we know that, and there's a lot of research to suggest, although there's nothing conclusive, but online, if it doesn't promote extremism or promote the radicalization of people, it definitely fosters it. So it creates a safe environment. Yes. And this is research that's just coming out, but I experienced it myself, right? So I can testify to that. And I found that I slowly started to speak to like-minded people, treaties, books were exchanged, and people espousing these kind of views were exchanged, so on and so forth. I still, at that time, I wouldn't say that I became what's known now as a takfiri. I wouldn't make takfir on everyone and all the Muslims.
What does takfir mean?
Excommunication. I wouldn't say that a Muslim is a non-Muslim, and
you justifying their blood, like, basically.
Exactly. So I never kind of fell into that, nor did I fall into the extremes of what this person was either. Does that make sense? It was literally a case for me that I believed it was justified to go out there and to join the forces to fight against the rebelling army, and that was it. And I think it's a blessing from Allah I didn't get that far, because to be honest with you, if I did get that far, then Allah knows best, right? We see the results of this kind of dangerous ideology. And so that's myself in a nutshell. I don't want to take away from the viewers. Let them go watch we'll put the links to the podcast, inshallah.
All right. So let's just finish this off.
But I think it's important to talk, because we're going to talk about his what made him kind of get into this. What were the kind of theological underpinnings, the justifications that he kind of implored, right? Exactly. So do you want to take it from there?
Well, to be honest, there's a lot of studies done on this. If we look at it, for example, like there was in 2010, a Pakistani-born citizen, Faisal Shahzad, was arrested for attempting to carry out a terrorist attack in Times Square. So he wanted to blow up people there. His attempt was to carry out a car bomb, and had it gone off, it could have killed many people.
Absolutely.
During his trial, he was asked why he wanted to kill civilians, including children. And Shahzad's response was, well, the drone hits in Afghanistan and Iraq, they don't see children, they don't see anybody, they kill women, children, everybody, they're killing all Muslims. Now, number one, we're not justifying this, but what we're saying is, where is this coming from? Because when we talk about foreign policy, people are like, oh, foreign policy, blame on foreign policy. But this is actually a fact, because, if we have people like Scott Atran, who's an expert in counterterrorism, he himself says, these things play a major role. And he says, if you look at the way they move towards radicalization, it's got little to do with religion. And obviously, we don't want to. It's coming from the media. They were claiming that he had a girlfriend. We don't know. We're not filming that because,
No, but on that topic, a lot of these people, like for example, Mark Sageman, I mean, he said that, and also other researchers say that many of those who are involved in these kind of criminal, kind of radical terrorist acts, they have little connection to the religion in the first place. They're not necessarily extremely practicing people or pious people. It's a lot of the times politically motivated.
Exactly. Two of them here, when they travelled to MI5, there was MI5. They released something where they were saying that there was two guys who went from London and they booked a book for
Syria.
They went to Syria and they bought a book for Islam for Muslim for Dummies or Islam for Dummies.
Quran for Dummies.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So you can see, and sometimes I've come across individuals like this where we've kind of confronted them or talked to them, and you can see that they have very little know about it. And when they brought the evidences, it's just like, oh, okay, you're right. And then they go back to their old ways.
Absolutely.
They seem like they come from a troubled background. Like, I have to see, they just seem like they're troubled. There's something going on. And I could believe so much so that I will happily believe that it could even be like a breakup from a girlfriend or something like that, and you might find it shocking, but that's what it is. You're being alienated, bullied, whatever, and then you're looking for you're looking for somewhere, a group to join and be a part of, because you're being outcasted a lot.
What you've just touched on, bro, is what most researchers today, they call it push and pull factors.
Okay.
That enable terrorism, enable extremism.
Okay.
So the push factors are like marginalization, alienation, the socio-economical issues. They feel like they're not part of society. They become isolated, etc. These are factors that push someone towards extremism. Yeah. And then there's pull factors. Yeah. And this is the kind of ideology espoused by these terrorist groups who pull people into it. They provide a safe haven. Do you understand? They provide a compelling discourse, and they provide an environment for them to come in. Which is why a lot of them, if you look, they are troubled individuals. Unfortunately, sometimes they're not as well. Sometimes some of them come from really good backgrounds and they're extremely educated and so on and so forth. For example, in my case, I'm a straight A student, and for those who know me, right? For those who know me, I was a straight A student, and I've always been, alhamdulillah, academically at the top, right? And I come from a good family as well, mashallah, tabarakallah. There was nothing. My case was very abnormal.
Was you emotionally driven?
Of course, yeah.
So can we say like these people, obviously, like for example, like the Christchurch attack that happened as well? Yeah. If you look at these people, they share something common, you know. Is that they see...
It wasn't only emotional. It was an ideological justification as well. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Which was enabled by my emotions.
Exactly.
We're human beings, You can't separate the two.
Exactly. So what it is you see an oppression happening, and you take... So for example, we know the grooming cases that have been happening, predominantly Pakistani or Asian, let's say, for example,
But the ones that make the media.
The ones that make the media, And we know, like, when it comes to paedophilia, it's majority, white middle-aged men. So what happens is usually, and you have the people, there was marches and protests, and why? And some people even took it to their own hands to, do stuff. Why? Because they're seeing an oppression to their own people, or some people they sympathize with, and they're thinking, okay, we need to carry out, and the Christchurch attacker, why he went and did that is because he's like, this great replacement thing that was happening. So you can see that people are emotionally driven, and when they see something that the authorities are not doing, and they're calling it political correctness, which the far right say, like Tommy Robinson, Britain First, which I've had dialogues with, they say that, there's political correctness. And I agree that, like when these cases happen, sometimes political correctness does happen, and it's not fair because the grooming cases were not actually being dealt with because, it might be seen racist. Who cares if you're caught? Whatever you're caught, if this is a young group of girls being abused, your last concern should be, it might be seen racism. Absolutely. No, this is a fact, and Allah says in the Quran, speak the truth.
Yes.
Against
even if you're a witness against yourself.
Exactly.
Your family. The thing is, you touched upon drone strikes. Yes. You mentioned that, right?
Yes, drone strikes.
Justification from, I think, Shazad.
Exactly. Right? General Michael Flynn stated that he had an interview with Mehdi Hassan in 2015. When you drop a bomb from a drone, you're investing. And they were investing in what? You're going to cause more damage than good. So what he's trying to say is, and former CIA counterterrorism chief Robert Grenner has admitted that drone strikes create more enemies than we are removing from the battlefield. Yeah. So what they're trying to say is, when we're carrying out these drone strikes on innocent people, etc., we are breeding more back home than we're killing here. Yeah. Because what's happening in return is... Exactly. If you look at American bases, they are all over the world. All over the world, And the atrocities that have been committed, not the American people, but the American government, sadly, and our government was involved as well, going and killing like 1 million innocent people dead today. To this day in Iraq, you have babies being born and defected, because of certain things that have been dropped. Now that's emotional. That hurts me. Now some of these people come to us and think like this is the reason why when you was involved in these kind of groups, not exactly like this guy, because sadly this is another whole total case. It's that how did you deem other Muslims? You see them as traitors, not standing up, cowards. This is what we are called, but we say to them, look,
they become the other.
Yes, we're the other, and this is what we got. I got called a disbeliever, a murtad, somebody's left the fold of Islam, an agent, MI5, all this kind of stuff. Why? Because they're thinking that in order for me to not prove them wrong and stand up, I have to go and be like, yes, let's go and kill them. You're perverted, because my teacher is Allah and His Messenger. Your teacher is Bush and George Bush and Tony Blair, because you're saying they're doing it to us, we'll do the same. Well, we don't learn from them. We follow the Quran and the Sunnah. We don't follow Bush and Tony Blair. And this is where they don't understand. So if there's someone watching now who might have the same mentality as this person, what would you say to them? Because
excellent. And wallahi, this is something that I've been trying to do, akhi. Wallahi, Allah Jalla Azza, I've been trying to contact these people. Or not necessarily directly, but through people I know, because I don't know them, right? But I've been trying to I want to engage in dialogue. and I want to engage from an ideological perspective and theological justification, because many of these people claim to be practicing. They claim to love Allah. They claim to love His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They claim to love Islam. Like, so let's come and debate or dialogue. Not necessarily debate, because it has negative connotations, right? People like, unfortunately, speakers corners and you type of people, but let's not. But it has negative connotations. I want to dialogue. I want to discuss. قال الله قال رسول Imam Shafi'i رحمه الله تعالى says العلم ما كان فيه قال حدثنا وما سوى ذاك وسواس الشياطين. The knowledge is Allah said, His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's it. Let's come together. Let's bring our sources and let's engage. Let's discuss. And the thing is, the government. I know there's a number of kind of these anti-extremism courses that they use in prison. When I was in prison, they were not there at the time, but I know that they're in there now. And unfortunately, I do not believe that they are using Islam as a means of treating this extremism. Definitely not. And the problem is, when you try to liberalize Islam, you're just going to have a polar opposite.
Of course.
Okay. Without mentioning people that we know, right? But if you use Islam as the tool, so it's a diagnostic tool and it's a prescriptive tool, and you use that as a means of treating this ideological justification, believe me, it will go. It will disappear. If someone actually believes in Allah and believes in Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and believes in Islam, then that's it. If the haqq is there, most people, inshallah, we hope they're sincere and they will accept it. You know, turning back to the haqq is better than continuing in batil. And I think if the opportunity was there, this is what I would say. And if anyone knows anyone, I'll be willing to engage in dialogue and discussion with them, inshallah.
No, definitely. And the thing is, like, this guy, he's being allowed, and you know, they had 2 people on him as he's stepping out the house. Like, I don't understand. Like, I believe if that person is, why is he let out? I do not understand, why is he let out? If you know the guy is dangerous, you know he's going to cause this, and you've got 2 guys on him following him, why are you letting him out?
I mean, look, there's a discussion here of the infringement of liberties, as to what extent can a person's liberties be curtailed, and that's a political, philosophical discussion, and that's really not our realm, and that's the realm of the government, and so on and so forth, right? I do applaud the security services for stopping it, alhamdulillah, as soon as it was stopped. If only it was stopped quicker. And I don't know how, but I would suggest that the government utilize, I don't want to blow my trumpet, akhi, but if they utilize people like myself, people who have been there, done that, not necessarily alhamdulillah but have gone and studied and become, you know, I don't want to say scholar and these things,
understood the true essence of Islam.
You know, who are referred to as teachers and so on and so forth. Alhamdulillah, utilize these people. But if you don't utilize these people, then these courses just don't hold weight.
And have people like non-Muslims like Majid Nawaz, then it's going to be worse.
Barakallah feek. And watch out for the course as well. We'll say to the viewers, inshallah.
Salam Plus as well.
Salam Plus, watch out for the course. It's coming out soon. You'll see another video, inshallah. We'll advertise it. And spread it and share this video as well to your friends and your family, inshallah.
Let me just finish this off, Sheikh.
Terror attack. The Home Secretary arrived in Downing Street tonight to brief the Prime Minister. She was joined by ministers and senior police officers.
We believe this was an isolated incident. Officers reacted.
The scene is still being searched tonight. 3 people who were injured here are being treated in hospital, 1 for life-threatening injuries. But what happened here in Streatham this afternoon is likely to raise questions, not only about prisons and about sentencing, but about the effectiveness of police surveillance too.
Yeah, guys, so that's about it. I think, I think we've learned enough. And there's, you know, like I said before, sadly, this is just like a perverted, emotional way of, you know, and a lot of them, they justify it through foreign policy. And it's sad. Wallah, it's sad that, you know, they have to go to this. I think a lot of them
don't really have ideological justification as well, to be honest. I don't think they're learned enough in their religion. That's the issue. Most of them, that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, you know, their characteristics is that they will recite the Quran and it will not go below their neck. And some people say that it's not actually the Quran, well, not the Quran, but it's the understanding of that, you know. And let's not forget, these kind of people, you know, sadly, the people that they belong to, ISIS, whoever it is, they've killed more Muslims than non-Muslims. And we're not counting who they've killed more, but it just tells you that where they stand. Absolutely. And
we just hope the victims are well and nobody has passed away. And inshallah, may Allah give us, you know, tawfiq, inshallah. And hope you guys have benefited from this.